Hi, Dr. Quinn Denny here of iSight, your work psychologist and work psychology firm, bringing you evidence-based research that you can behave in the workplace to increase your work happiness, your work performance, and ultimately profitability. As the new year is here, I just finished my 3-day annual retreat where I set goals and I reflect on the year. And I can't tell you how excited I am to begin to pursue my goals this year. However, just like this people mover, time doesn't wait. Time is already passing and we're already almost halfway through the first month of this upcoming year. If you want to achieve your goals, you need to know the science behind executing goals. You need to understand what it looks like so that you can go about getting goal acquisition this year. Stay tuned to this next clip. I'm going to show you how it's done and show you what it looks like. Hi, Dr. Quinn Denny here, your work psychologist, bringing you another psychological power-up. This year, as you look forward to accomplishing your goals, make sure to operationalize them. And this is what that looks like. When we operationalize a goal or we operationalize something in research, means we bring it into a measurable format. We bring it into something that we might be able to count or run metrics against. And that's what you need to do with your goals. If you want to be successful and find yourself sitting in your chair, looking at your list of goals at the end of the year and saying, I accomplished those, I have goal acquisition, then you need to do a process like this. It's absolutely key. I'm going to show you these 5 elements that will help you accomplish your goals this year. This is about taking what's in the ethereal and putting it into reality. And in order to achieve your goals, you have to execute performance. Now, performance is a set of behaviors that move in a consistent direction over time to produce a result. So what you want to do is you want to figure out what is your specific result in your goal? What is measurable? How will you confidently know that you've attained that goal? I'm going to use the example of running. I love to run because it clears my head and gets my stress down. And it's just generally overall good for mental health as well, for being at our best mentally. So if I were to take an example and say, hey, my goal this year is to run a 7-minute mile. Now that's ambitious, so that's part of a fast goal. But if I want to run that 7-minute mile, then I have to figure out what specific behaviors do I need to do that are likely to produce that result. And it's no brainer. I need to spend some time running. So I'm probably going to need to eat right, hydrate, spend time running. Now, the key is I need to find the running behavior that will produce that result. So once you have your specific result, you go back to the beginning of this diagram and you pick your behavior or behaviors over time that are likely to produce that result. In my case, it's running. So I need to define a few things about a very specific behavior. First of all, I probably need to say in my behaviors, I'm going to run X miles, at a time, or I might run X distance at a time. Whatever that distance is, I need to figure it out. And then what I do is I determine how often I'm going to do that behavior. That's the frequency or the cycle of behavior, how frequently I'm going to behave it. And then I need to figure out the duration of time that I'm going to do that cyclic behavior. So the duration of time might look like for 6 months before the end of the year, or for every other month, or every other week, or every other day, I'm going to run X distance at that frequency for that long over time. Hopefully that makes sense. If you're selling, if you're producing something, if you're making a product, you have to figure out what behavior you're going to do, how frequently, for how long. So it's the cycle of behavior, how often, for how long, what duration are you going to do that behavior? That's called operationalizing behavior. Now, there's 2 more key components to this. One is you have to figure out a way to remind yourself to do that behavior. For me, I put it on a calendar. Once I get my goals operationalized, I transfer them into calendar events, and then that way I've blocked out time, and time is a key variable in getting anything done. We're always playing against time, just like you saw in the last intro clip. Now, there's another piece of this that's important emotionally, and I'm going to show you that here in the next slide, but I want you to think about this. As you execute and put effort towards your goals, you need a feedback loop. You need a way to monitor those goals and say, am I succeeding already? Am I predicting that I will accomplish the outcome or the result, my specific result that shows me that I attained the goal? It's super important. Watch this next clip and we're going to talk about the emotional and psychological component that is key to achieving goals this coming year. Perhaps the most important ingredient in achieving goals for me is understanding the following that's on the screen. Now, this is from my dissertation. I studied hope and a willingness to behave courageously in the workplace, and I studied psychological capital, a positive mental state. And here's what I found. There is this common flow or mechanism that executes or is present in all of us. And here's what you need to pay attention to when it comes to goals. In the last video clip, I mentioned how important that feedback loop is. It's important on a quantitative level, meaning we're able to look at something and say, hey, yes, my sales revenues are increasing, or yes, I'm getting closer to running that 7-minute mile. So that's important as far as a measurement. But when it comes to a more subjective dimension, which is emotion. Emotion is a key, and we tend to undercut it. We tend to discount it, but it's super important because it is the way that we look at things that will determine our positive or negative emotion. And this is important to listen to. That's what plays out in your behavior. So if you are motivated, you're going to put forward more effort. If you are demotivated, you're going to cut back on effort. You're going to pull back on the reins, and you're not going to put forth as much time and effort in pursuing your goals. And remember, performance is consistent behavior in a consistent direction over time to produce a result. So that's very key. Hang on to that. Now, when we look at this diagram, I want to show you something that I found in my research that I believe to be present in every situation, especially in achieving goals. When it comes to putting forth effort to get something done, we do this all day long and we're very unaware of it typically. So what happens is we do something called framing. We take in a situation, we weigh facts, we weigh emotions, we weigh our interpretations of others or events, and we determine whether we believe those events to be several things. One is, are they positive or negative? So in its entirety, is the situation positive or negative? The other thing that we look at is we look at a situation and we look at ourselves, including our confidence, as either fixed or something that's adaptable. This is the difference between having a mastery-based mindset. I do something because I enjoy it. I'm working against myself. I'm racing the clock. I see myself getting better, and I am happy. I'm joyous because I'm accomplishing and I'm becoming better at something. I'm mastering it. Now, performance-based mindset believes things to be more fixed. So it's an outward focus. We're looking at the score of others. We're looking at circumstances and situations as driving our performance versus us being mostly responsible for what the outcome is in our goals. So that's really important. So the way we frame things is going to have a big impact on our effort. Now, when we frame things positively, we're priming ourselves positively. And then therefore, we put forward more effort. And then guess what happens? We get a result, and the result gives us a feedback. That's that feedback loop. And so if we are seeing things positively and we're getting positive results, we're going to have a tendency to exert more effort over time and to stick with it, to be persevering and consistent. And this is very key. So be aware of this coming year. When you're executing your goals, if something doesn't go right and you don't get all of your milestone in a certain quarter or a month or a week or whatever that time frame is, don't be discouraged. Get up, frame it positively, see it as a learning event. Do something different, adjust your micro behaviors so that you can attain the goal. It's possible. You can change your performance. You can change the way you're doing things and the way you go about things. This model is evidence enough of that. I've seen it in the research. I promise you it does work. It's about zooming out, getting perspective, and creating some positive emotion, which will impact your behavior positively, impact results positively, give you a positive feedback loop. You'll be encouraged, you'll put forward more effort, and it's what we call an upward spiral. That's part of broaden and build theory, and it really does work. I hope this has given you some empowerment over your goals and the way you'll behave and operationalize them this year. Thanks for watching. This has been another Psychological Power Up with Dr. Quinn Denny, your work psychologist and president of IASITE, your work psychology firm, helping you increase your work happiness, your work performance, and ultimately drive up profitability. Take care, and I'm cheering you on this year. Go get your goals.